Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good afternoon to each and every one of you today, and welcome to a very, very special occasion here on board the MS to Amsterdam. I feel very honored in many, many ways, and I'm sure each and every one of you do, especially the group of people that are traveling with the California Angels this week. And I know there's a lot of you in the room. I'm going to bring on the floor a gentleman that probably a lot of you know already. He's going to host the questions and answering program here this afternoon. So I'd like you to give us a nice round of applause for the Senior Vice President of Marketing for the Angels, and that's John Hayes.
This is a good group. This is our third cruise and far and away the largest group, which raises a curious question. How many of you folks rooted for the Angels in 1986? Folks are going to root for the Angels on the World Series, the first World Series for the club in 1988. Yay! You may notice I'm not mentioning 1987. This is going to be a very informal kind of an operation in that we'll give you a little background first, introduce the folks and so on. And then we're really going to ask you people to ask any questions you have either about the baseball team or specifically to Mr. Autry, to Gene Autry. And the questions can be mixed. They don't have to be baseball followed by one or the other. Whatever question, we'll hand it to the person that's appropriate. I can only suggest that we will be as honest as we possibly can regarding the baseball side. Anything that is... Mr. Minton is negotiating at the current time. But we will be as honest as we can about where the club is at this moment. And so any questions that you ask that don't regard salaries or specific personalities in terms of the person himself, or whether how he fits with the ball club, we'll answer it. To start the thing, I'm not going to make the introductions, excluding one. I'm going to introduce the broadcaster for the California Angels, the senior broadcaster, a fellow that started out with the Hawaiian AAA club, who went up to the Vancouver AAA club, and joined the California Angels in 1984. His fourth year as being the lead broadcaster for the Angels, Mr. Al Connon.
Hello everybody, thank you for the warm welcome. Are you enjoying the cruise so far?
Yes!
I know for all of us who are part of the Angel family, being on the cruise is a way of relaxing and a way of forgetting too. I think John alluded to 1987. It was a tough year for us. In 1986, we came within a strike of an American League pennant, and it just wasn't to be. And last year, even though we were in the hunt until September, we started to fade and ended up actually at the bottom of the heap, something I know all of us in the organization are hopeful of completely turning around in 1988, and that's what John was alluding to just moments ago. But today, the task at hand is letting you have a chance at asking the questions on your mind of some of the people here, and it's quite a distinguished panel too. Let me get right to it and start introducing you to some of the Angel family that are on this cruise with us. First of all, let me begin with the coaches that are here with us right now. The man just to my left, sitting right here, is our third base coach and hitting instructor, someone I got to know in the minor leagues, and he is Moose Stubing. Moose plays military golf, by the way. Right, left, right, left. Outstanding hitting instructor, too. Our next Angel coach is a man who will no longer be part of the family on the major league scene, but will still be helping out at the minor league and the instructional level. Someone who we affectionately call Babaloo. He is undoubtedly one of the free spirits ever to grace a baseball field, and someone I know all of you who have gotten a chance to visit with him would share with me. Please welcome again, Bob Clear. Bob, how many years have you had in 43 years of baseball? And how long have you been married? 40 years.
All my life. Oh.
We'll skip past somebody who I know you know very well, and you'll be hearing from at some length in just a moment, and move on to, speaking of free spirits, a celestial part of our family. While he was with the Giants, he got the nickname of the Moon Man. And I had other thoughts as to how he got that nickname. You had the same thoughts, But as it turned out, the description, I think, quite accurately capsulized the way he looks at life from a different perspective, and it's a refreshing perspective at that. And mostly during this cruise, every meeting we've had, he's been late, except for this one. But actually, that's in character with him, because normally during every baseball game that he's part of, he doesn't show up till the 8th or 9th inning anyway because he's a short reliever. Please welcome Greg Minden. Sitting to Greg's left is our shortstop. And when you just say the word shortstop, at least to me, that's one of the most important positions in the game of baseball. Ask any pitcher about the importance of a man at that spot on the field, and he'll tell you he needs the shortstop to make the plays, the routine plays, time after time after time, turn the double plays, get the outs. And in the case of the man sitting here, he not only gets the routine outs, but the difficult plays too. And he makes them look easy. He has almost a ballet quality about him. And it's not a coincidence, at least in my mind, somebody up there must have known that he would be a good fielder. In fact, the word field appears in his name, Dick Scofield.
Don't worry.
The next man is on this cruise, temporarily biding his time until somewhere down the line he is inducted at Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. He has won 321 games, if I'm not mistaken, perhaps 322, what is it? 321. Should have won 322.
Oh, blame me again.
I was going to. By the way, I said he was a short reliever. I didn't tell you he was any good. By short, I meant a pitch. That was it. Take him out after that. No, he is outstanding. Sinker ball, slider, and what is that other pitch you throw? Is it legal?
Vaseline.
Vaseline, that's right. Let's stop that subject because I'm talking about Don. I don't want to bring that up.
What's good? He finishes everything you start. I start anyway.
By the way, my nails are a little long, Don. 321 Vince, Hall of Famer. He is a gentleman, and he is an outstanding athlete. You don't need much of an introduction when you hear the name Don Sutton. By the way, for any of you who have dreamt of being a catcher, and I have not, by the way, although it may look like I have spent some time behind the plate, it's not the case. But one thing about Don Sutton I have always marveled at, even when he has not been as sharp as he wants to be. If you have ever watched the Angels play and see our catcher Bob Boone, or any catcher that Don really has thrown to through the years, if he sets up on the inside quarter, generally speaking, the catcher rarely moves. The ball is there, time after time after time. Control, and 321 wins have gone hand in hand down through his 21-year career. Well, I'm finished giving you the introductions. We're moments away, I think, from your questions, but there's one more man who needs to have a few words said about. And before we hear from him, John, I'd like you to introduce him yourself.
Well, there's only one person we could obviously be talking about, Gene Autry. How many of you folks have seen... How many of you folks have visited or seen the Hollywood Walk of Stars? And how many folks knew that there's only one person, alive or dead, that has 5 stars on the Hollywood? Gene Autry. He has stars for work in motion pictures, in recordings, on television, on radio, and for personal appearances. No other person, male or female, has ever been awarded 5 stars. Add to that, though, a little bit of how he got there. Gene Autry spent over 5 decades in the entertainment business. Gene appeared in over 95 motion pictures. Over 2,000 songs were recorded by Gene Autry. By the way, he wrote over 200. Now, back in 1961, Gene had a strange idea that maybe baseball would be fun, and he founded the California Angels. He today is the longest existing ownership in the American and the National Leagues. He is the president and the chairman of the board, Mr. Gene Autry. A very brief piece of background about where we are right now as a ball club. And then we're going to ask questions and answers, and again, you can address either Mr. Autry or any of the players, or ask generically, and Al Cunnan and I will pick a player or a coach to provide the answers. The ball club, of course, is in an interesting situation, where in 1986, the ball club won the Western Division Championship, and as Al said, we lost the American League Championship literally by 1 pitch. Last year, we had an interesting mix in that we had a lot of young players and we had a number of very mature players. And trying to put that combination together is always tough. We added to that a number of injuries, but we were still in contention, only 3 games out by the middle of September. The last couple of weeks we better not discuss. But that does change the situation for 1988. And a number of things are happening currently, a number of things will be happening over the next few months. We have, unfortunately, we have severed our relationship with Don Sutton. We have done that for a number of reasons, which I believe Don would be happy to address, but the reasons are really the direction of the ball club and Don's personal direction, and the legal ramifications of contracts within Major League Baseball, in which that if Don were not released at the time we did a few weeks ago, Don would be in an awkward situation if he decides to sign with another club. The Angels, of course, think highly of Don, and there is a chance, I suppose, that if Don decides that he wants to go remain in baseball, does not go with another club, we've got a shot again back on May 15th, I believe it is. So it's a long way off. We have negotiations with Mr. Minton and his agent, and we dearly expect and hope that Greg will be back.
So do I.
We have another free agent that is a word that strikes terror in a negotiator's heart, Mike Witt. Mike Witt, we are in our, when I left on Friday, we were in the 7th step of negotiation. The problem is we don't know how many steps there are, but it'll be quite a while there. We fully expect, though, to make a stronger winter move. We are looking for, hopefully, for additional pitching, and we're looking, hopefully, for a power hitter, perhaps an outfielder. We can address any one of those situations individually, but let's open it up to any questions. Yes, right in front. The question is, are the Angels going after Dave Righetti? I'll answer that without pressing it to anyone else. We certainly think most highly of Dave Righetti, but I would only add that the Angels, and it'll be true of almost every ball club, are going to look at the length of contracts and the total amount of money involved. No ball club wants to go beyond 2 years in a contract if they possibly can avoid it, and of course some of the monies are getting astronomical over longer periods. So Mr. Righetti would be a long shot simply because of what he can demand. But yes, he's certainly would be a consideration. Yes.
Don Sutton, you did a great job with NBC on the American League Championship Series. Are you going to pursue that? I think. Hello.
Apparently not. I can't make this mic work. There are a couple of directions I'd like to see my life take. Not in the next 365 days, possibly, but ultimately I would like to be able to stay near baseball. It's been one of the focal points of my life for such a long time, and it's been very good to me and my family and the people important to us. So I'd like to stay near it. Broadcasting is one option and one that I think I would enjoy. If I had my ultimate dream, it would be to be either the director of player personnel or the director of the minor league system for a Major League Ball Club. Those two positions for a number of reasons. One, as I said, it'd be near baseball, but I think it'd be a chance to get involved in the lives of some young people as they are growing up in baseball. And I really think that in our game, that the one thing that stops a lot of kids from playing in the major leagues right now is that too often organizations think there's only one way to teach. And I believe everybody has a chance to be right as they are, not as I think they should be just because I did it my way. So that would be fun.
Who else has a question here? Lady in the back. Is Jimmy Reese still with the organization? Yes, indeed. And Jimmy Reese has passed 80 now and is still the fungo master of baseball and one of the true gentlemen of the game. By the way, for those of you who don't know who Jimmy Reese is, he played in the 20s and I think in the 30s and on a little bit beyond that in the major leagues and in the minor leagues too. And at one time, while he was with the New York Yankees, was the roommate of Babe Ruth. And Jimmy's famous line, or the line that is often quoted, was that he spent more time rooming with Babe's suitcase than he did actually with Babe, who was rarely in the room. All right, who else has a question? Sir?
Gene Autry, what record labels did you record under, and just counting the 78s, not the 45 and 33?
When I first started, my first recording that I ever made was for Victor. It was called Victor in those days, not RCA Victor. And then I started recording for American Record Corporation in New York. And they had a lot of labels. It later was Columbia, OK, Harmony, and they had a lot of labels that went out to different chain stores, like Saratoga had a label called Concord, and Kresge had a label called, I think, Perfect, and there was Banner. And each of the chain stores back in those days, that was back in 1927, 28, they had a label of their own. And of course, my records was distributed through all of them.
All right, who else has a question? Sir, let me go right here, then I'll move to this side of the room.
One great you pitched in both leagues, and whenever you hear broadcasters, you hear that the umpires are different in both leagues. Did you find that there is a different pitching in the American and National Leagues?
No. I gotta say more? No, honestly, the umpiring part of it, I didn't see that much. I had expected that because that's what we hear too. What I did find was a big difference is they got some guys in the American League, they're all about 6'11" and 280 pounds, and the ballparks are about the size of this dance floor right here. And it's different, you know, in the National League, shut up, Scully. National League, you got a whole bunch of little guys that are hitting singles, and they're stealing bases, and it's like a bunch of little 440 track guys. In the American League, you've got the number 9 hitter who's hitting 190, but he's got 37 home runs. And it's a tremendous difference in that respect.
36 are off of you.
We're going to go snorkeling tomorrow, you and me.
I have a hint, I'm not coming back, right? I promised over here. Let's, sir, right there in the back.
This question is directed to Gene. In the
Okay.
Chicagoland area, you're showing some of your movies on a daily basis, and it comes from the Melody Farms with Pat. Can you explain how it happened with Pat, that you and Pat are commenting on the movie itself and other items there? Can you explain some of that to us, Gene?
You mean to have Pat up here with me in these movies?
Yes, it is. You're sitting side by side with Pat Buckner.
Well, Pat Buckner works with me. And
That's from Melody Ranch.
Yeah, for Melody Ranch. The cable, it is...
He works with me on almost all the melody range shows, except for, maybe 20 or 25. He was injured in one of those pictures. A cannon backfired on him. He was supposed to fire it up into the clouds to make it rain, and it backfired and blew him about half in two. And he was out for 3 or 4 months. But outside that, he appeared in most of my TV programs, and he appeared with me in several the pictures I made for Columbia after I came back from the service in World War II.
Gene, wasn't it Pat Buttram who made the comment, which seemed apropos here on this cruise, that you can get drunk on water as well as on land?
Does Pat get drunk on water?
You know him better than I do.
No, Pat used to be a pretty fair drinker, but I don't think he's had a drink in the last 5 or 6 years.
And he's one of the funniest men alive.
Yes, he is. He comes up with a lot of original stories and jokes, and he has a world of talent, really.
Next question. This gentleman right here.
I have like a scouting question more than anything else. I'm from the east, mainly around New England area. My question is, and I remember seeing moose over at the park in Medford, Massachusetts, but I can't remember the name of the park.
Springfield Giants, I would put.
Yeah, but I remember seeing you as a scout, I think, over in Medford.
I hope not.
You hope not. My question is, how come the boys from New England states, not specifically Massachusetts, but the New England states, even if they go to college in the Midwest and the far South, I don't think they get the playing time, and I'm wondering if that's the reason why they are in a lower percentage of picks in the National or the American League than the boys from Midwest, down South, or far West.
The question for those of you upstairs that can't hear back over the edge is that this fellow's from the New England area and wonders why the youngsters are less frequently picked from the New England area than they are from some of the warmer areas of the United States.
Well, that is a fact due to the amount of games they get to play. And this is the big thing that can go on. If a scout gets the opportunity to watch a boy play more than once, it's going to be in the California or the warm weather. We've got scouts that scout in New England. He might not see a game for a week due to he drives 200 miles to see this young man who's going to pitch, and he gets rained out or snowed out. So we don't get the opportunity to see them play as often. So again, you're not going to rate them as high because you've only seen them once.
And they don't get the playing time.
No, they do not. That's a lot of times what they've done now. The NCAA allows these teams in the East to open in the West and a swing deal. Like on Easter vacation, Big Ten will send 5 teams down playing the Southwest Conference, hoping to get them exposed and get them ready for their conferences when they open in May.
Thank you.
There were some questions upstairs, and it's hard to see from down here. Is there any?
John?
Yes, up here. Uh-huh.
Last year, Pat was with us. How's he doing right now? How's he looking next year?
The question is how Kurt McCaskill, one of our starting pitchers, was injured last year, or at least a portion of last year. The question is, how does Kurt look now? And I'm going to leave that to Bob Clear.
Well, Kurt, operation come out very good, and he threw about a week ago in Anaheim at the ballpark, and now he'll just rest until January 1st when they start working out with Marcel, the pitching coach, and it looks like he's always going to be fine.
By the way, too, this gentleman asked about players coming from up in the northeast part of our country. I think that McCaskill is from that part of the country, New Hampshire. Someone went to college up there.
And was an All-American hockey player, too, if memory serves. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Autry, how many of the sons of the pioneers are still living?
The question is to Mr. Autry, how many of the Sons of the Pioneers are still living?
The original group, there's none of them living. Yes, they are. Roy Rogers was one of them. He's still living. In fact, I saw Roy only about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But the rest of them are all gone. Bob Nolan, who wrote Cool Water, Tumbling Tumbleweeds, and a lot of those fine songs, he's gone. Hugh Parr, and his brother, one a fiddle player and one a guitar player, he's gone. Tim Spencer, who wrote a lot of their songs, he's also gone. And I guess that Roy is just about the only one of the original group that's left.
Yes. Over here.
I'd like to ask Mr. Sutton, what does it, there's a lot of Canadians here, and a lot of us come to Florida. What do you think of our Blue Jays?
A lady from Canada who cares nothing about American baseball asked Don Sutton what he thinks of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Be truthful now, be truthful.
I'd rather not face them. It's a wonderful city to visit. It has some great restaurants in it. Jimmy Williams is an excellent manager. The ball club has some people that are very talented as far as pitching, hitting, and defense is concerned. But I think your ballpark, they just laid tarp on a parking lot and called it a ballpark.
You sound like a Rooney.
I'm trying to do all I can to get you a new stadium there.
Hey, incidentally, Jimmy Williams was trained in this organization as a manager, so don't think they're by themselves up there. We got something to do with them.
What does that mean, Bob?
That means Jimmy Williams.
Why did we send a good manager up there? Why are we helping them beat us?
Go ahead, one manager at a time. Buck Rogers was in our organization also.
So we sent 2 Canadian managers
Got
up
a
there.
lot of managers in the big league that started this organization as players and managers in the minor league system.
About Jim Ferguson?
There's another one.
Jim Ferguson?
Yeah, Ferguson, sure.
I want you to stop telling people that we broke in together, too.
Really sad. I said, you came in ahead of him. Anyone up here again? We're not, I don't know if we're getting adequately the...
There you go.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
The guitar that Mr. Autry had in a lot of his earlier promotional pictures made by the Martin Company, I think the prototype of the D45, still have that.
Gene, could you hear that question?
Yes, I have about 3 or 4 Martin guitars, and I have 2 or 3 Gibsons, but I prefer Martin actually to any of them.
Yes, over here.
We found out during the World Series that the Metrodome was a very objectionable place to play baseball. How come your league don't object more to that ballpark than what I hear is right?
The man with the St. Louis Cardinals hat does not think too highly of the Metrodome up in Minnesota and ask why the American League is not taking umbrage with the what at least the St. Louis Cardinals feel is a less than perfect facility in crowd control. Let's see, Dick, how about you?
I'll let Don do all my talking. Honestly, I don't know. I've played there for 3 years, 4 years, and the lighting to me is a little unfamiliar for the first couple of days, but as far as playing conditions, I think it's great. You have the indoors, which I personally don't like, but when it's 25 degrees out, you'd rather be inside in a tent than freezing your butt off. But as far as the American League having say over what Minnesota does, I personally don't know. Don might have something to say.
I personally object to it. Mitt objects to it.
You play in the minor leagues, you wouldn't object to it.
Our question to the side to the players is: does the noise that noise level affect player concentration? Greg?
Thanks a lot. The only thing I base it on is in the National League you have the Astrodome, and at least the Astrodome has all the seats are cushioned, and there's cushions all the way through this thing, so it absorbs some of the decibels, I guess you would call it. Well, you get in this place up there in the north, and I'll tell you what, I go out early every day, and I hit fun goes to the batting practice schedule, just have fun. And one of them just, he says, hello, and he goes, hello. This stadium, I had to change my underwear 3 times to walk out of it is the loudest place I ever played at.
He can't believe he said that. They put on a better show than the nightclub. Yeah.
I didn't know you.
I'm in Minneapolis, and the only time we ever had Detroit is the national playoff, the World Series. Otherwise, we never have over 10,000.
For those of you who didn't hear that answer, basically he said, "You're full of it."
Tell them about our attendance.
Yes, by the way, speaking of attendance, the Angels drew approximately 2,700,000 this year, which was right up there as usual with the American League leaders, where they have been consistently for the last 6 to 10 years. And many of the people who are here on this cruise are part of that loyal Angel following, and I know Gene Autry and the whole family is very proud. And I know one other thing. The man right over there, John Hayes, and Gene have collaborated on the goal of 3 million, and I think one day they're going to make it, quite shortly.
One day soon. And an aside of the excitement and loyalty to the Angels, be aware that the Angels have a horse named Champion.
There's a lady right there behind the partition.
The question to Mr. Autry, how many champions were there in the series of champions, and a little background on them?
Well, I've had three horses that was champion. The original, and then I had champion the second that I used in a lot of my pictures after I came back from World War II. And then I used the third champion in most of the TV films I made when I started making those. And I have one of the champions still alive. He's a dark sorrel with 4 socks and a white strip in his face. The original champion only had 3 white socks.
Yes, right here.
After the umpire on the last World Series, do you think they'll go on instant replay because there's a couple of stinking plays?
Another St. Louis fan. The gentleman is asking, because of what he feels was perhaps not accurate umpiring during part of the World Series, does the group feel that there's a likelihood that Major League Baseball will go to instant replay next year or in the fairly near future? Moose?
No. Due to the fact that you can't get enough angles during a regular game.
They got a lot of angles on the World Series.
Well, they use 7 cameras. And during a regular game, you're lucky to get 3 by NBC.
But
Now, you can't afford to put 7.
That one umpire wouldn't even ask the other umpires about the decision.
Well, you know, you got to realize they're God. You know, they allow us to play. It's their game.
It's your game, not theirs.
Oh no, you're talking to us. When you talk to them, it's their game. You're right. Something's going to be done, but it ain't going to be instant replay.
Over on the far side.
Over your 21 years, how many teams have you played for?
The question to Don Sutton, over 21 years of a career, what teams did he play for, and little background?
I think it's 22. And I started with the Dodgers, and I put in 15 years there. 2 years with Houston, 2 years with Milwaukee, 1 year with Oakland, and then a little over 2 years with the Angels. Was that it? Okay.
By the way, through all that time, I just might add, 22 years, right? 22 years, who knows how many pitches, probably in the millions. Only one man has made more starts in the history of the game than he has, and that's Cy Young. You've heard of him, I know. I don't think, how many times have you been hurt that whole time? I mean, I've missed 1 or 2 starts your entire career?
Well, I've never been on the disabled list. I've been very fortunate that all my injuries come in the winter playing golf. But I've only missed 4 starts in my career, and I haven't missed one since 1969.
Up in the balcony.
Don, listen, I'm one of your biggest fans. I gotta know something. Don't jump! I gotta know. Towards the end of the season, you were playing the Yankees. Was it a blister? With a Band-Aid? I won't tell a soul, I swear.
As the owner, I object to the question. And by advice of counsel, I do not answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, to the best of my recollection, Mr. Chairman, that day I really did have a blister.
Yes.
The Chicago White Sox had the best record after the All-Star game last season. You anticipate that'll be your big competition? And can you elaborate on the Dotson here? I think it smells, but give me your...
2 questions from a White Sox fan. The Chicago White Sox had an incredibly good second half of the season last year. The question, of course, is do the Angels perceive the White Sox to be the or a primary contender in the American League West? Bob Clear.
Well, I'll tell you, as long as Jimmy Fergosi's running that ball club, they're going to be a tough ball club to beat. But they do need pitching, and by getting rid of Dotson, I don't think helped them any, but they got a young pitcher to come up at the end of the season and pitch against us, and he looks outstanding, that boy from Stanford. And his name is McDowell, and they have a good ball club, a younger ball club. They got rid of some of the older players. And Fergosi, with the 4 years he had at Louisville, I think he's coming into his own as a major league manager, and I think our division next year is going to be a toss-up affair. I don't think Minnesota's going to waltz off with it by any means.
At one time, wasn't he your manager?
What's that?
Wasn't the Sox manager the manager of California Angels?
The question is, was Jim Fergosi, the manager now of the Chicago White Sox, at one time manager of the Angels?
Yeah, he's the same guy that managed us in '79 to the playoffs, and then we got beat by Baltimore. And now he's working with the White Sox, and he re-signed a contract for, I believe, 2 more years.
Way in the back. The question was, Gene, champion had a pistol on his bridle. What was the significance of that? That's the question.
Well, that pistol was just an idea that I thought kind of made it look Western, and I kept fooling around trying to build one of them. And I made probably 4 or 5 of them before I ever got one that I liked, because I took a gun and a Colt and split it and put it in the center, but it was too heavy for the horse. And finally then I found a blacksmith that said he could make one out of aluminum, so we took a gun and cast it in aluminum, and that's how the bit came about. And I originally had an idea to use it sometime when I didn't have a gun, to use the bit from champion to make it look like I had it on a play card. That's where I got the idea. But the bit now I have 3 or 4 of them for different horses, and that's all made of balloon.
Raise your hand.
Yes.
It's like playing in the new parks better than the old parks, like in Boston, parks like
Well, the question that we're going to ask the 3 players each to answer. Do the players prefer playing in the new parks, or do they prefer playing in the traditional parks, Kaminsky and Boston, and the clubs that are playing in parks that have seen an awful lot of history?
I think one of the fun things about baseball is the tradition that goes along with the game, and that there have been so many people who played in some of these parks, and I think as a younger player to walk out on the field in Dodger Stadium and even in Milwaukee and a lot of those places, it would conjure up memories of people that I had admired when I was growing up. And I think for myself personally, I enjoy playing in the older parks, or at least parks that have grass in them anyway. And the tradition is such a great part of it.
only because I know Boston is thinking about possibly going to a new stadium, so you prefer they keep that one.
You try pitching there and say no.
How about you, Dick?
I personally like playing in older bar parks. Ballparks. I grew up in watching my father play in Fenway Park. I lived in Boston in 68 and 69, I believe it was. And, out of all the parks, I have to say Fenway and Comiskey are probably the most nostalgic. They've been around, might be older than Don, I don't know, I'm not sure. But, I like the older parks. I like Yankee Stadium. I like the shorter fences. I hate AstroTurf. I was talking about the Metrodrome earlier. I believe it makes the game a little quicker. As I get older, I'm going to need that grass to catch up with it. But I like the older ballparks. What about you, Bob?
I hang one sinker and you'll never have kids again, yeah. No, in the National League, my favorite ballpark was always Wrigley in Chicago. It was beautiful, yeah. And I kind of pulled one of my typical dumb stunts. The day the Angels signed me was June 2nd, and we were playing the Yankees in New York. And shoot, I was just kind of mesmerized by the stadium. I mean, you know, Mickey Mantle played here and everybody, and gosh, all the history here. And all of a sudden, in the 8th inning, the phone rang, and Gene Autry said, "Get Mitten loose." And lo and behold, they couldn't find me. I was out in center field, and I was reading all the monuments of everybody out there. So I very much like the older parks too, yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Raise your hand.
We're going to take one more question, and after that, we're going to turn it over for a few minutes to all of you to take photographs. And you're welcome to ask for autographs, but I'll continue that for just a second. One last one over here. The question is, how long did it take Don Sutton to pitch in his first major league game after leaving high school?
I graduated in 1963, and Tate High School, Pensacola, Florida. They were national champions in '64. I didn't know we had that many graduates from a small country school. I graduated in June of 1963. I signed with the Dodgers September of 1964. Was called up to the major leagues in September of 1965, and I made my first start in the major leagues in April of 1966. So it was a little less than 3 years.
Thank you. We are going to take 10 minutes, and we ask your understanding and indulgence in not allowing it to go beyond that. We'll take 10 minutes to take photographs and to ask for autographs. We also ask, with your understanding and sympathy, these fellows are on vacation and would really appreciate if they're not asked to provide autographs and so on as they're relaxing on ship. So get what you can now, and everybody loves to say hi, but please don't take their time at the dinner table and so on. Thank you for being with us.